The Penn State Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Sciences has one of the largest alumni networks in the country, turning out thousands of graduates in many different sectors across the enterprise. Tonight, you're going to meet one of them whose expertise is helping to serve NASA, the Florida Space Coast, and its operations. He is a class of 2018 graduate from the department, serving as a meteorologist and launch weather officer for the 45th Weather Squadron in Cape Canaveral. Please welcome Brian Cizek. Take us through your academic and career journey to what you're doing today.
Thanks, Tyler. It's great to be here. And I had a little bit of an interesting journey to get where I am now. I actually initially graduated from Washington University in 2015, and then I went on to work at Epic, which is a healthcare software company. And I really wasn't a big fan of that job. And that kind of inspired me to go back to school. And I decided, hey, I've always really liked meteorology. I've always liked weather. So that kind of inspired me to get back into weather. And I was able to come to Penn State and get my meteorology degree in 2 years. And luckily I had a lot of the math and physics background already, so I was able to kind of go right into the meteorology courses. And then I was fortunate enough to get the position here with the 45th Weather Squadron. So it was good, and things really, I was very fortunate, and things worked out for me.
Definitely an interesting journey to say the least. Now, I've seen that you've worked as an on-air meteorologist before joining the 45th Weather Squadron. How did you make the transition from being an on-air personality to a NASA forecaster?
Sure. So my initial plan, especially my senior year at Penn State, was to go into broadcast, but I was also doing other things. I was involved with the National Weather Service as a student volunteer over there. And I was actually working weekends over at 69 News WFMZ TV in Allentown. So I drive out there every weekend. And I was also filling it at ABC 27 in Harrisburg. So my plan was to go into TV, and then the commander for the 45th Weather Squadron came to visit at Meteorology Career Fair, the career nights that you guys put on, which is great that the department does that. And I was just taken in, and I was sold, and I thought this was a really, really cool opportunity. And I decided to pursue it, and I was lucky enough to get the position.
Yeah, the 45th Weather Squadron is something that's definitely different than what most people would go into. While working at the 45th Weather Squadron, you guys do launch forecasts. What are some of the weather conditions that you identify for the ideal launch?
Sure. So really our bread and butter is what we call the lightning launch commit criteria. So it's a set of 10 rules that's designed to protect not just against natural lightning, but also rocket triggered lightning. So a rocket can actually induce a lightning strike that would not have naturally occurred. So those 10 rules are designed to protect against the natural and rocket triggered lightning. They're looking at different types of clouds that could potentially hold a charge that could induce a rocket triggered lightning if it happens. So we're looking at different types of clouds at different temperature levels, and depending on how close they are to the launch pad, will tell us what the standoff distance and time is for the weather conditions.
Interesting. Obviously with trigger lightning and Florida being along the tropical where you could have hurricanes and tropical cyclones, what's one of the toughest forecasts that you've ever had to deal with while working at the 45th Weather Squadron?
So I would say one of the most challenging forecasts during my time here has been, we actually do the weather support for some of the splashdowns. So the astronauts coming back from the International Space Station come back in that Dragon capsule and splash down at some various different sites in the Gulf or the Atlantic. And they have pretty tight weather constraints with some of those as the capsule splashes down with various wind and wave conditions. So I was involved with the Crew 1 and Crew 2 splashdown. The Crew 1 in particular, we have to find a small window where we have favorable weather for both the primary and also for the backup days. So it was really challenging and really rewarding working with the NASA and SpaceX team. And it was just a really good feeling to put in all the time. There's a lot of briefings, and then to see the astronauts successfully splash down and see their smiling faces as they come out the Dragon capsule, and to know that you played a small part on that was a really cool experience.
Having been to the Space Coast myself, I've actually seen what some of those capsules look like. It's definitely incredible to see people coming back in those. Again, obviously being in Florida, there's plenty of beaches, there's plenty of things to do. What are some things that you like to do when you're not forecasting?
Sure. So probably one of my favorite things to do is play golf. So being here in Florida, unlike some of my friends who are still up in the Northeast, I get to play golf all year round. So certainly in the winter months, I get a lot of visitors who come down, which is great. So I love playing golf. I like playing other sports as well. I'm on a softball team. I actually played baseball in college, and I was an assistant coach with the Penn State club baseball team when I was there. So that was a lot of fun. So I still play some. I've traded the baseball cleats for the slow pitch softball cleats, so that's a lot of fun. I enjoy going to the beach. I like going on some nature walks around here. We got a lot of great, alligators and birds, so some cool wildlife. So there's no shortage of activities to do down here on the Space Coast.
For sure. And then one of the last few questions that we have here is a staple that we like to do. Thinking back, what was one of your favorite memories while being here at Penn State?
So I don't know if I have a particular one, but I would just say just everything, just all the great opportunities that I had, particularly in the Penn State Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Sciences. I was part of Weather or Not. That was a lot of fun, and just the camaraderie of I had a lot of small classes. I actually had Fred Godomsky's final forecasting class, Meteo 416. We only had 5 people in the class, and it was just a forecasting contest essentially. So it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of trash talk among everybody going back and forth. So that was fun. I was also involved with the AMS chapter. I was the president my final year. We had a lot of great speakers coming in. We did the AMS trip to the annual meeting in Austin, Texas that year. So there's just so many awesome opportunities, and the camaraderie of the Penn State Department of Meteorology just is second to none.
Brian Cizek, a class of 2018 graduate from the Penn State University Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science, now a launch weather officer for the 45th Weather Squadron. Thank you so much, Brian, and we'll be back in a moment with more.
Thanks, Tyler. We are.